I'm not going to invest in Abbotsford. It's way too far away. I'm not going to see the same appreciation, etc., etc. I hear people say this all the time, and it bugs me down to my core because it's just plain incorrect. Now, I got to shoot this video really quick today because it's blizzarding outside, and if I don't shoot this video, get the hell out of here, I'm going to get snowed in. So let's get right into this, right? So the rhetoric that I hear is that if you were to buy out east in Chilliwack or Abbotsford, you won't see the same appreciation because it's not closer to a downtown core like Surrey or Vancouver or Burnaby or whatever. So here I've got overlaid the 10-year price chart for Abbotsford, Langley, Surrey, and Vancouver. Now, what you guys will notice is that the numbers, the prices for which Abbotsford, Surrey, Langley are starting at are different. But overall, what has happened with the prices, what has transpired within these charts is exactly the same. The only difference is the amount you pay for the property, but the overall percentage gain is very similar. Now, you'll notice that Surrey briefly detached itself from Langley prices during the pandemic. Now it's on its way going back down into alignment with Langley. I'm talking about the orange and the green. But overall, you'll notice that these price charts are identical, right? The only difference now is had you bought the property in Abbotsford versus Surrey, similar properties, they would have appreciated pretty much the exact same. The only difference is that the property you bought in Abbotsford has better month-to-month cash flow. You would have, depending on when you bought, been break even, possibly cash flow positive, maybe losing a little bit of money, but I can promise you, had you bought that same property in Surrey, you would be hemorrhaging month over month. So the ROI ends up being higher on Abbotsford property because you're losing less money every single month, or possibly even being cash flow positive depending on when you bought. Now, something I will touch on here, because we've got this purple line, which is Vancouver. Some people are like, well, maybe I'll buy in Vancouver. You're right in the downtown core, etc., etc. This, in my opinion, there is an argument to be made for. But buying in Surrey versus Abbotsford, hands down, no-brainer. I would rather own in Abbotsford. Unless, of course, I was buying a condo, then I might opt into a concrete high-rise in Surrey Central, just because you can't really get quality concrete in Abbotsford. There's only one building, and it's priced pretty high, in my opinion. But if we look at Vancouver, basically post-2009, you'll see that Vancouver far outperformed the Valley for about, 6-7 years there, until 2016. The Valley uncharacteristically surged in prices and has been playing catch up with Vancouver. So you could make the argument that the Valley is overvalued right now because there should be a larger separation between Vancouver prices and the Valley. However, what I do believe is happening here is, one, this is an aggregate price. So this is going to be condos, townhomes, detached homes, all combined to form one price. There's obviously a lot more condos in Vancouver than there are in Surrey, Langley, Abbotsford, and that is going to bring down the overall aggregate pricing of aggregate prices in Vancouver. Because if Vancouver had the same amount of detached homes on a percentage basis as the Valley, this number would be a lot higher. But two, it's also due to affordability, which I think we can all comfortably say is likely not getting much better in the future, which will continue to force people out to the Fraser Valley. And three, the jobs market has changed substantially in the last 15 years. I mean, now you don't necessarily need to live in downtown Vancouver to make a high income. You can, work from home. There's a ton of stuff that you can do online to make money. And I truly believe that those types of jobs are only going to increase and get more prevalent as our economy continues to change. So you could make the argument that, yeah, maybe the Fraser Valley is overvalued, but you could also make the argument that it was actually just undervalued, and now it's been playing catch up in recent years. So I've lived in I've lived in Surrey for 21 years. I briefly lived in Langley. Now I live in Abbotsford. I've lived in all three. I have an unbiased opinion. And purely from an investment standpoint, I would much prefer to own in Abbotsford, where it's less upfront capital. The cash flow month to month is better, which again, so less money invested, less risk, less bleed month to month, less risk. And the appreciation should be exactly the same, but the ROI ends up being higher because of cash flow. So If you're looking to pick up something in Abbotsford, give me a ring. I'm that Agent Kelly. I'm making moves to move you.